Hello everyone, this is Monday Morning Journalist reporting live from her living room. And the topic of discussion today will be about an article that was posted on arstechnica.com, which basically talks about how a recent Nobel Prize winner named Doris Lessing feels about our modern culture. And the article should be posted right above me. Hopefully you'll read it so you know what I'm talking about. But basically the gist of the article was that Lessing supports literature and everything, which of course is admirable and proper. But she talked about how the power of books is being destroyed by the internet and blogging culture. Now, Doris was born in 1919, so you wouldn't expect her to have a incredible grasp of how the internet and everything works. She came from the age of books. But in her acceptance speech, she talked about how, children in sub-Saharan Africa had a much stronger desire for books than wealthy students in England. And she claims that the TV and internet are to blame for such a discrepancy between cultures. And I think that there may be other factors there besides, a powerful desire for learning. I think that she is confusing, desire for education with cultural standards. I'll read a quote from Doris's acceptance speech right now, actually, and outline my opinions on it. So, where is that? Alright, she said, "We are in a fragmenting culture where our certainties of even a few decades ago are questioned and where it is common for young men and women who have had years of education to know nothing about the world, to have read nothing, knowing only some specialty or other, for instance, computers." And I think that's a pretty strong statement, claiming that the young men and women of the world don't read and don't have anything except a very limited grasp on one subject. The irony is that I probably wouldn't have known who Doris Lessing was or have read her acceptance speech without access to the internet. So while she claims that the internet is destroying our free thinking and it's the TV of the next generation, I would actually counter-argue that the internet is expanding people's awareness of the world, is making the world smaller in a good way by making so many more pieces of knowledge accessible, and is in fact replacing books in some areas, such as, discovering present and current information. If I was going to look something up in an encyclopedia, I would go to an online encyclopedia. If I wanted to read about some foreign country, I probably wouldn't sprint down to the local library and look it up. I would go online because the resources are right in front of me. So Doris has been kind of taking the stance that internet and blogging are destroying the hunger for books, which is the key to education. And I would say where she has been, sub-Saharan Africa, yeah, books are what you need to get an education, but criticizing young English kids for not having a hunger for books isn't the way to go about comparing those two cultures. It's comparing apples and oranges. I would say that young English kids do have a greater chance of gaining access to the internet. Unlike sub-Saharan African communities, not all of them would have, cable internet running underground to their homes. It's a different culture. It's not a bad difference between cultures, but she is comparing two different worlds, if you will, saying that one is better because it wants books, while the other is worse because it goes to the internet mainly for information. So, saying we know nothing about the real world and read nothing is a generalization that is founded on her opinion about books being superior to any other form of information or literature. So, I think Doris isn't completely wrong, and that, the internet does have its distractions, and it's also just as much entertainment as it is information. But it's the same for books. There's, you know, classic literature, there's nonfiction, there's encyclopedias and dictionaries, and then there's the romance novel section. So wherever you go, if there's something to read, there's going to be, you know, intellectual information, and then there's going to be entertainment information. So I think Doris wanting to shun the internet the way she does may be a slightly old-fashioned viewpoint, maybe founded in the fact that she could not understand everything about the internet. But the internet is a cultural movement, and it is changing our culture. It's changing the way that society functions, but it's not changing it for the worse. It's opening the world. It's giving more information to more people. It's not making us stupider. It's not narrowing our minds and only allowing us to focus on one thing. The internet is, you know, it's the books of the future, and I would hope that Doris maybe one day would understand that there's going to be great literature available through the internet. There's going to be all forms of education available through the internet, just like with books. And they're not so different, and one's not superior to the other. So, you know, Doris might have a thing or two to learn by hopping on a computer, maybe running a Google search. So that's all I have to say about Doris and her speech, and I congratulate her for getting the Nobel Prize in Literature. That is very prestigious and a very excellent achievement. And maybe one day she will jump on a computer and change her opinion. So that's all today from Monday Morning Journalist. It's time for me to go change out of my bathrobe and into some real clothes, so I hope the rest of the day is good for you guys, and come back again. Alright, bye!